as we enter the golden age. The wisdom of the temples, the arts that got lost, stolen and abused by worshippers of the dark, they are reclaimed by the priestesses of the golden age. I call upon Mary Magdalene, Isis and Arthur, divine feminine. Bless us with your teachings, may we receive your grace, while weaving ancient and future in the golden age. Everything I've been through, the fires of hell, got me on the path, initiated once again, and I embrace my role as a leader in the golden age. I call upon Mary Magdalene, Isis and Arthur, divine feminine. Bless us with your teachings, may we receive your grace, while weaving ancient and future in the golden age.
So, good morning. How is everybody today? Middle of the week. I'm going to turn on my comments here. So if you guys want to say hi, I'm going to try to engage a little bit more today. Hopefully you can hear me good. That song, I like to play a song to open the show. It gives me time to share everything to my pages and sort of set the stage. So that one is again from Fia, F-I-A, Fia. Go look her up. It's called Golden Age, which is what we are coming into and why I have started this show, really. So, first, I want to say thank you to Freedom Revolution Network for giving me this great opportunity to have a voice and to speak and to have this show. Freedom Revolution Network runs on donations. So if you guys are in a position to donate, even if it's something small, $3, $5, what you would spend at Starbucks, every little bit helps the network so that we have a platform for people to speak. So that's why I come on here. Really, the purpose and intention for the show is to share news that's being censored, right, that I come across, and also to share messages of consciousness. And then because it comes along with me and who I am, there's always going to be something about self-love, loving the self, techniques and tools around self-love. What I do in the world is I'm a photographer. Most of you guys know this, right? And I do mostly boudoir. So I do mostly women portraitures. And I'm excited to let you guys know that this summer, I'm having some angel wings made, maybe like pink and white and black. I'm not quite sure, but I'm ready to have a whole summer of angel mini sessions. So right now, the way my boudoir is priced, it's priced pretty average. You just pay a session fee and then you will buy, albums or prints. And so that's going to change for the summertime to really give more people access to come in and have the angel mini sessions. And with the angel mini sessions, we're also going to do, meditation and have like a message there, right? Of consciousness and initiation. Really, a lot of the women who come in and have photo shoots with me, they go through that. Maybe they don't realize they do, but they do. And the other service that I'm offering, I'm just going to do all the selfish promotional stuff first and then jump into my message. But I'm also doing oracle card readings. So what is that? It's different than tarot cards, right? I have a structure that I use, right? Like, what is your soul trying to tell you? What is your spirit guide trying to tell you? What do you need to heal? What do you need to focus on? Future energies, current energies, things like that. And usually a wild card. And so I have a structure that I do for these oracle cards. It works really, really well. My intuition does play into it, but for the most part, I really create a space that's about you. I play your favorite song and I shuffle decks. I have several decks that I work with. Here's Divine Feminine deck. I have Past Life. I have the Goddess deck. Well, these are just really specific energies that might be coming up for you that can help you just kind of see things outside of the noise of your head. So I'm now doing card reading services also through Freedom Revolution Network as a way to raise money for Freedom Revolution Network so we can keep the station going. And they start at $5 and they go to $55 depending on how much of a reading you want. So let me know if you're interested. Couple other things, I want to stay in touch with you guys. So if you are on Instagram, I have 2 Instagrams. I have the me dragon goddess, right? Like I can do whatever the fuck I want Instagram. And it's dragon_goddess_777. And then the other one's pretty easy. It's just Danielle Eugenia Photography. It's long, but it's Danielle Eugenia Photography, right? This one's got all my photography on here. You can see it's like clean and all that stuff. So I don't get too wild on the photography page, except showing off my beautiful unicorns. And then on the Dragon Goddess page, I've been using that a lot for some of the angel messages I drop in there and a lot of newsy news stuff. So that's all I wanted to get through for the first part. So now I'm going to go ahead and deliver part of an angel message. I'll probably tail end this broadcast with another angel message. So what I decided to do with these angel messages, because there's so much download and there's so much to these words, is I read through a chapter and then I highlight what's kind of jumping out at me to share. And then that one chapter and just those little parts is what I share throughout the week. So it doesn't become so overwhelming. So we started this week with talking about being infected with love. And what's so cool about me doing this, right, is that this whole week I've been absolutely infected with love, right? So last Friday I did an interview with Dror Ashua, and he's the author of the Angel books, right? And since then, right, it was a great interview. I watched it again yesterday and I can't wait to take like little clips of what he was saying, right? And making like mini videos of it because it was so good. It was a very clear and clean way to transmit a lot of what's happening right now with energy. It was so good. So since that, I feel like Dror infected me with love. Like I've just been lit up. My cells feel brighter. I feel brighter. I've been just singing and dancing around the house. I've just been very creative, really just full of a lot of positive energy. And it's kind of got me back into growing and learning with the books. So what a wonderful interview. I hope you guys get a chance to go back and take a look at it. This Friday, I'll be interviewing Emma Suchek. So I'm going to probably create a video and some promotional stuff tonight with things that we've done from her shoot last year. So I can promote, it's kind of an interview, but it'll be like a chat because her and I are friends and we're kind of goofy, but we're going to be talking really about being present, being in the body, talk about embodiment, emotional release and things like that. And she has an offering too. And I love it. It's perfect. It's really perfect for where a lot of people are right now, including myself, right? And that's just very simple. She doesn't even want to call it yoga because it's like not so much about exercise, but really about being still and being with oneself and being present in the body. So she's got that offering going now too. We'll talk about that on Friday. And I'll give a lot of people an opportunity who want that experience to come into that with somebody who's very gentle and inviting, and you'll love her energy. It's like You know, her energy is very sunny and it tends to give other people, you know, more energy. So, yeah, she's very engaged, like present, embodied woman. I love her so much. So, Emma Suchek will be on. Oh, we have someone saying hello from the Emerald Isles. Wow. Hello, Kevin. How are you? So, yes, so that's Friday at 9. And Emma will be broadcasting from London. She lives in London. I'm in Las Vegas. Oh my God, it got so it seemed like it got so hot and then it got so chilly. I think I almost wanted to wear a sweater, but then typically halfway through the broadcast, I get too hot. So, all right. So I highlighted a few things I want to share with you guys out of the angel books. It is time. More of you are growing wings. You find it challenging to reconcile this reality with your new reality, and you feel that something may be wrong. With all love, we wish to reassure you that nothing is wrong. The path you are on is sacred and revered by all. Your role is to be a bridge. A bridge must have firm footings on both banks of the river, so those who walk can pass on it safely. So stop right there. What they're talking about here, right? And those of you who you know who you are, this may not resonate, and that's fine. If any of my message doesn't resonate, just it's not for you, right? But if it does resonate, a bridge is somebody who, right, has a foot in, we'll say, mainstream, right, and a foot in the spiritual world. I admit lately I feel like I'm more on the edge, but I'm definitely a bridge person, right? So I'm here to chunk this stuff down and bring it to the masses somehow. And so some of you guys are feeling that way too, and that's why you feel drawn to this message. So this is your expanded role to lead those who choose to ascend to cross this bridge. If any of you guys are confused about ascension, we might talk about that one of these days, but I'm going to say it's an increased consciousness, increasing awareness and consciousness within you and without you, like that in mainstream language, we'll say that's what ascension is, right? And it is happening right now. I'm going to talk more about that later. You are a conduit and you are love. Your role is to awaken and ignite the memory of others to their own potential. So I feel like I'm here doing that too, right? It's this show, it's not about me. It's not even about the other people that are on here. All of us really have the same goal, the same mission in mind, really, is just to ignite and awaken, you know, others so that they can remember who they are, so that they can live their greatest potential. So you have chosen to walk, and we walk with you every day along your path. Angels are constantly talking about how they're there with you all the time and how much they love you and how much you're never judged for whatever it is that you choose. So you emerge from the birth canal of your mother. With a short time, you are an adult, and then it's time to go back home. What do you think the purpose is for such a journey? Do you believe that it's to make money or to marry well? Do you believe that it's to have a family or to find a good job? Do you even believe that it may be to find God? I say that last one is angelic humor, as you are God. So many of you are on a desperate search to find God, and all along that God is hiding inside of you, wanting to be acknowledged. So clear that up, right? We are children of God. So we have this ability to create. We have this energy. That's why we need to be more responsible with it, because it's, you know, your children are an extension of you, right? So instead of it coming from an ego perspective of like, I'm a god or I'm a goddess, it's really this language that we're carrying out with responsibility, because we are vessels and we are children of God, and it is true, and we can create with our words. So your role is simple, is to create light and ascend, right? Create light, increase consciousness, increasing awareness, growth. Your light is not in the money you make, nor is it hidden in the car that you drive or your diplomas. Your light is hidden in your heart, and each time you open your heart, light pours out and adds illumination to where there was none. Your choices, thoughts, feelings, and actions are the basis for your vibration. Is it that who are not whom you think you are? You are us, and we are you. We merge. We are God, and so be it. So obviously, I've like okay, sorry about that, guys. I think I accidentally clicked on something and went into airplane mode or something. So sorry about that. So great. So we get to open with that. And again, this week was really talking about this being infected with love. So very interesting enough is when I open up these weeks with these themes, right? When I have a theme in a week, things come to me that are related to the theme. And a friend of mine sent me a video of an activist doctor in Texas who was at a rally, and she did a speech. And I wanted to play it for you because I want you guys to know her experience as a doctor of what she's going through with COVID. I wish I would have sent this to Mel so she can just play it, but you'll be able to hear the audio. So I'm going to play it right now.
My name is Yvette Lozano. I practice medicine in Dallas, Texas, and have been doing so for the last 20 years. I am an activist, and that began when Obamacare showed up. The reason I'm here today is because I want you to know the truth about this virus. I am currently treating COVID patients in my office. Let's start just with some simple numbers, and we've heard these numbers, but I want you to think about them. 330 million people in the United States of America. 29 million people in the state of Texas. 2 million people in Dallas. 111 dead. Now, when you see those numbers, it kind of shocks you that we could stop society for 111 deaths. Let me explain how they do it. Here is how it is notified to you. 27,000 positive COVID tests, 3,000 recovered, 111 dead. Well, if 3,000 are recovered from 127,000 positive tests, that's 124,000 that have recovered, right? Because we've only got 111 deaths. The things that I'm going to tell you today are from my personal experience in my office. I don't want to bring statistics from other physicians because there's always someone on the left that wants to contradict me. So these are my experiences, patients that have walked into my office, and here's how they present. These patients present with a fever like the fever that you get with malaria. It comes on at night. They have night sweats. These patients present with cough only elicited with deep breath. So they are short of breath. Their lungs are tight, as though you would notice with an asthmatic attack. But most importantly, these patients present in panic. They are afraid. They are anxious. They're actually afraid to get diagnosed. They have been staying at home for days.
So it's a little long, but I'm going to break it up because it is a radio show. It's not like you guys want to watch me watching a video. But key thing that she says right there is those who are having these symptoms are scared and anxious, and they're afraid to go to the doctor to get tested. Okay? That's a key thing I want you to take away from this.
Coming into the office. Why is that? Well, that's real simple. When they go to the emergency room, they're turned away. If they have a fever, they're sent home and told to quarantine to save the rest of society. During those many precious days when they're sent away and sent home, they infect their family members. And so a lot of my patients are in groups of families, okay? This is not just happening in the emergency rooms. This is happening in doctors' clinics. These doctors that are not opening their practice, that are all of a sudden implementing telemedicine. Let me tell you something. from a physician that's been practicing for 29 years, I can't examine you through a computer screen. We can't Facebook or FaceTime for me to see what's wrong with you. I have to touch you. It's called a physical exam. And this is what I went to medical school, to provide care in the midst of a pandemic, not to hide in my fancy home with my fancy cars and my family. Okay, now let's go a little step further. Let's talk about treatment. Okay, you would think that I would get some kind of guidance from the American Medical Association, the Texas Medical Association, the Dallas County Medical Association. Well, I was on a live telecast, and here's what I heard from the Texas Medical Association. We need to increase visas to bring in foreign medical doctors to help us take care of COVID patients. Really? Are you kidding?
All right. She goes on. It's 9 minutes. I don't know if we need to play the whole thing. If you guys want to see the whole thing, let me know and I'll send it to you. But the point is that people are getting sick. They're seeking medical help and they're being told to go home, right? And when she gets on with the board to find out what we need to do to prepare, and they're trying to make rights for illegals, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm prepared to shine a very big light on this right now. What is the name of the show today? I wait till 20 minutes into the show to tell you what the name of the show is today. It's why the medical industry is a big time failure. So I told you guys that I was so excited that this book I read over 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I would say. It's called Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. And the guy who wrote it is literally in prison right now because he was harassed every day for 30 years from the FDA and other agencies because he wrote this book. So one of the great things I had to highlight this was in his introduction. He talked about that there's 4 stages of learning. Okay. And this is important because we're talking about consciousness too. So this all ties in together, right? Stage 1 is unconscious incompetence. This is the stage where you don't know what you don't know. Okay. We're all there at some point, or we're there in some things, right? That's normal. Conscious incompetence. This is the stage that you know you don't know. You know you don't know. No, you don't know. The stage that you know you don't know. So I know I don't know this. Make sense? Stage 3, conscious competence. This is when you know that you know, but you have to consciously think about it, right? And then 4 is unconscious competence. This is when it's just second nature. You know the information's a part of you, and you just know it as easy as you know your name. And this is when it's fully internalized, right? And it's just automatic. To get to that point, what do you need to do? Just like anything else that you become a master in, you need to be in action. So, is it possible, first off, to go week after week, year after year, and never get sick? So, yes, there are all natural, non-drug, non-surgical cures for most every illness and disease. Also, yes, there are organizations, government agencies, companies, and entire industries that are spending billions of dollars trying to hide these natural cures from you. And yes, every single non-prescription and prescription drug has adverse side effects and should virtually never be taken, with exceptions. And he goes into that later in the book. I may or may not, not today anyway. We won't go into that. So isn't it interesting to know that medical science always presents things as fact when actually they are really presenting is not a fact at all. It's only an opinion based on the information they have at the current time. Throughout history, medical facts have been proven not to be true over and over again. Therefore, they are not facts at all. They are simply opinions. Medical science has stated things to be true, and in most cases, years later, those things have been found not to be true. Right? Medical science is almost always wrong, yet they present things as factual, as if they know the truth. The medical industry presents itself as the only source of truth when it comes to health, illness, and disease. They use words like credible scientific evidence, scientifically tested, scientifically proven. The fact is that I'm just so charged full of joy, guys. Sorry, this is probably more serious, but I do. I do think this is funny because it's true, right? The fact is that they're really presenting all theories, and that all the theories are consistently changed. So I'm going to give you some examples, right? Here's some examples of medical facts that have been proven to be wrong. Bloodletting was once proven to cure most illnesses. It's now considered totally ineffective. I actually had a little bloodletting done in acupuncture one time, and I thought it was effective. But margarine was considered much healthier than butter. Now researchers say it's the exact opposite. And I think now it's coconut oil, right? Coconut oil, ghee, that's always changing, right? Eggs were once considered to be bad or high, of high cholesterol. Now researchers, not bad at all. They actually say eggs are healthy for the body. Alcohol in all forms was said to be 100% unhealthy and therefore should not be consumed. Then the medical community said that red wine is actually healthy for the heart, but not other forms of alcohol. Now medical science says that all alcohol in moderation actually has health benefits. Chocolate and oily foods were touted to be cause of acne. Now researchers show that they don't contribute in any way to acne. Homosexuality was once classified as a disease. Homosexuality was once classified as a disease. I'll read that again. That's funny. Medical doctors touted that baby formula was much better than breast milk for children. Now it's the exact opposite. But guess who's still fighting for baby formula? I'll get into that later. Milk was recommended for coating the stomach and alleviating stomach ulcers. Now it's discouraged and been found to aggravate ulcers. Medical science stated that diet had absolutely no effect on disease and illness. Now we are told that diet has a huge effect on the prevention and cause of disease. Medical science once had scientific evidence that the removing of tonsils and appendix improved health and should be done to virtually everyone. Now the medical community has reversed the theory. Children with asthma were told to stay in enclosed pool areas because the humidity was good for their asthmatic condition. Now, researchers suggest that the chlorine in the air from pools actually aggravates and makes the asthma worse. The most obvious example of all is the fact that there are thousands of drugs that have been approved by the FDA because they were scientifically proven to cure or prevent diseases, in addition to having been touted as safe. Then years later, they have been taken off the market because they had been newly proven to either not cure or prevent diseases as originally thought, or their drugs were just found to be terribly adverse side effects and they were simply too dangerous for people to use. In fact, I think drugs kill more people in this country than anything else. I do have a report showing that somewhere. I believe my friend Linda Gates sent it to me years ago. Again, these things get buried and censored, and we're going to talk about that. But a lot of people die every year from prescription drugs. So, what is wrong with healthcare in America? Right? Why do I say it failed? Medical science has absolutely 100% failed in the curing of prevention of illness, sickness, and disease. Consider the following, okay? So most people get colds and flus. More people get colds and flus than ever before. More people get cancer than ever before. More people get diabetes than ever before. More people get heart disease than ever before. More people have multiple sclerosis, lupus, multiple dystrophy, asthma, migraine headaches, joint and neck and back pain than ever before. More women have menopause problems than ever before. More women have frequent PMS and more severe PMS than ever before, which is now endometriosis, which wasn't even a thing like 10, 15 years ago when I had horrible, horrible PMS. The doctors would just laugh. I mean, it was a joke. I was like shamed for something that was giving me panic attacks. I couldn't take enough pain medication to make this horrific womb pain. It was horrible, right? It's endometriosis, which I actually cured whatever I had on my own when I had opened this book. This was my reality. Every single month I'd miss school. I'd miss work. If I was working a full-time job to try to manage my pain, to stay at home. right? This is a reality for so many women. And I remember trying to talk about this with people and getting laughed at. I was getting laughed at by it. And nowadays, women, I have a friend of mine. Actually, she's my insurance agent, Danielle McCaffrey. And she had to go to like 13, 14 doctors before she got a diagnosis, something crazy like that. So more kids have attention deficit disorder and hyperactivity than ever before. More people have chronic fatigue than ever before. More people have insomnia than ever before. More people have bad skin, acne, dandruff than ever before. More people suffer from depression, stress, anxiety. Talk about mental illness. More people have mental illness right now than anything, especially with what we're going through right now. It's pretty intense. Okay. More women and men suffer from sexual dysfunction and infertility than ever before. More people suffer from allergies, arthritis, constipation, fibromyalgia, cold sores, herpes breakouts than ever before. More men suffer from prostate problems than ever before. More women suffer from yeast infections than ever before. Yet, surprisingly enough, I don't want to yell too loud on the mic. Surprisingly enough, there are more people going to visit the doctors than ever before. There are more people getting diagnostic testing, such as blood tests and x-rays than ever before. More people are taking non-prescription and prescription drugs than ever before. Not only are more people taking drugs, but each person is taking more drugs than ever before, right? So we're not just taking one pill anymore. People are taking 10 and 20. There are more surgeries performed now than ever before. So the only winners in the cure and prevention of disease are the drug companies and the healthcare companies themselves. That's who's winning. It's all about the money. We're going to skip all about the money, and we're just going to go right into who are they? Who are the people keeping cures from you? What's being censored? And right, they failed. So what's going on? So we got a quote here from Herbert Lay, who's a former FDA commissioner. He says, "The thing that bugs me is that people think the FDA is protecting them. It isn't. What the FDA is doing and what the public thinks it's doing are as different as night and day." Direct quote from the commissioner, as different as night and day. Who are they? The pharmaceutical companies, number one on the list. These include not only the companies that sell drugs, but also the companies that research and develop drugs. It also includes all of the suppliers in the healthcare industry of such things as syringes, gauze, medical tape, tubing, plastic bottles, tongue depressors. There are over 10,000 medical pharmaceutical pieces of equipment that are used up and have been resupplied on an ongoing basis. The profits are astronomical. The money this group of companies makes is mind-boggling. You ever seen one of those explanation of benefits that you get from your insurance and see how much you pay for tongue depressors and plastic bottles, and they itemize all those things and mark it up astronomically. The food companies, you may ask, how do food companies get involved in healthcare? Well, there's a huge correlation between food and healthcare. Right? I'll explain this. I'll explain it later, but we can all say it's Food and Drug Administration, right? It's not just drug administration. It's not just the food administration. They had to bulk it all into one. The Food and Drug Administration. Keep in mind that food companies are directly or indirectly involved in the pharmaceutical industry through corporate ownership, affiliated business transactions, and or by the officers and directors personally owning stock in the pharmaceutical companies. Food companies include the companies that actually manufacture and sell food directly to us, but also includes fast food restaurants and the suppliers of the food industry, the actual growers of the food. So all of our food industry in the United States has a structure around it, has laws around it that is directly connected to the drug trade. So trade associations. I'm going to talk about this because lately I've been focusing on the WHO, and I'm going to talk about them again today, or a few of the other associations out there. But this, I'm not even going to read all this. I'm going to try to read all of it, but it's a lot, and it's not even the tip of the iceberg. The trade associations, the number of associations involved in the healthcare industry is enormous. Keep in mind, these associations are not in place to eliminate disease or keep people healthy. When you read their charters, you find that they that they're there to promote disease in an effort to get additional funding and protect its members, which are drug companies and doctors. Wow. Let that sink in for a moment. The associations include Alzheimer's Association, American Academy Allergy, Asthma, Immunology, American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, American Academy of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, American Academy of Family Physicians, American Academy of Neurology, American Academy of whatever that is, American Academy of Orthopedic Surgery, American Academy of Pediatrics. Oh my God, here, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole page right there. All right. There's a whole page right there of everything I'm reading. So you can see it. Just the tip of the iceberg. Okay. Insane. Insane. That jacket on the book was really bothering me. Charities and foundations. So this is another thing, like if you guys are out doing your research and you hear this, oh, well, the CDC said this and the FDA said this and the WHO said this. And then there are charities and foundations. These organizations sound great. But have you met the people who run them? The officers and directors of most charities and foundations have huge salaries and enormous expense accounts. They fly first class and sometimes on private jets. They stay in the most expensive hotels. They eat the finest restaurants with all your donations. Some foundations and charities have been found to spend over 40% of all their donations on administration costs. Think about it. If the foundation used the money it received to cure disease, there would be no need for the foundation, and the fat cats would lose their prestigious jobs and all the perks that go along with them. Yes, it's always about the money, but consider the second most powerful motivator for people is the combination of power and prestige. Think about it when you ask yourself, why are natural cures being hidden from us? Consider this. The Jerry Lewis Telethon raised over $1 billion for muscular dystrophy, yet more people have muscular dystrophy today than ever before. Boy, I still have some time here and I gotta pee. All right, lobbyist. This is the hidden secret group of people in Washington that most of you have no idea existed. I didn't know about lobbyists till I read this book 10 years ago. These people are on average making between $300,000 and $400,000 a year. This book was published in 2004, so that's 2000. These are all 2004 numbers. Plus hundreds of thousands more in perks. Their job is simply to walk up to a congressman or senator and try to persuade them into a certain line of thinking or to pass a certain piece of legislation or vote a certain way. Now, how do they do that? Well, the lobbyists can't walk up to a member of Congress and say, hey, please vote a certain way on this bill and I'll give you $200,000. That would be called a bribe. But what the lobbyists can do is say, do you have a son or daughter, Mr. Congressman? You do? Fantastic. I know your son and daughter has absolutely no experience whatsoever, but we would like to give your son or daughter a job for $200,000 a year. And the best part is that they don't even have to show up for work. Oh, by the way, Mr. Congressman, can you please vote a certain way on a particular piece of legislation which would help what I represent? Lobbyists also bribe members of Congress, although Congress has passed laws that make it illegally not to bribe by doing other things. So lobbyists may make huge donations to a congressman's favorite charity or school or hire companies that the congressman is affiliated with in some way. Folks, this is what's happening in Washington. Lobbyists absolutely bribe and pay off congressmen. But according to the law, it is not called a bribe or a payoff. It's technically legal. And who makes the law? The congressman. Pretty interesting, isn't it? They make a law to make sure that what they do is legal. Can you begin to see? It? George Orwell, Animal Farm, that was required reading in school. It was almost like they were telling us what was going to happen in the future. Animal Farm creeped me out then, and it seriously creeps me out more now because it's like, holy shit, that's right. Like the pigs got separated from the farm in that book, right? And they started making all the rules to just do whatever they want and like making everybody else do the hard work. So that eventually the pigs became the humans, which is the whole reason that the animals took back the farm was to get away from the abuse from the humans. So the government agencies, so primarily the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Trade Commission, right? So, I mean, do you guys find it surprising? Anybody else find it surprising that it's Food and Drug Administration? Why not two separate agencies? You know, this organization is one of the most powerful organizations in the country. They use a Jespo-like tactics to put natural cures out of business. They act like judge, jury, and executioner. They raid companies unannounced to seize products such as bread, herbal remedies, vitamins and minerals, computers, files, research data, and equipment. They conduct these raids with armed agents, guns drawn. They seize harmless products, papers, documents, and computers, just like the Gestapo did in Nazi Germany, without provocation, with no customer complaints, and without warning. So this is something he experienced. This is now the author of this book, Kevin Trudeau, is in prison. Right? This book has got, I would say that, I think at the time when I read it, I was more interested in hearing about natural cures, and I really just got, page after page after page of all the corruption from the FDA. Written in 2004, by the way. Here we are in 2020, and you're getting pushed every day in the news, right, for the new normal. You're going into convenience stores now, and I see this fucking plexiglass sitting there, and all the tape on the floor to keep everybody separate. It's a joke. It is an absolute joke. There's no fucking pandemic. Look, if people are going to go out there and get sick, well, now apparently the hospitals, right, they should have all the testing they need. They should have everything that they need to be able to handle it. And the survival rate is very high. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's come out of Washington too. So pharmaceutical industry. All right. I think I'm done talking about that. I'm feeling like there was one other thing I wanted to touch on. No, apparently there's more than that. Censorship of opposing ideas. So this is scary, and we're seeing it right now. Everybody who is involved in social media is going to be also seeing the censorship that's going on right now. We live in America. It's supposed to be the land of free speech. Well, speech is not free. If your speech happens to threaten the profits of big business, you are going to be bound, gagged, and ridiculed and persecuted, right? And this was in 2004. So now, I think I mentioned this last time, Facebook put out a statement saying that they would reward somebody $100,000 if they could find a way to get the AI to screen memes, because they didn't have the technology to screen memes, right? Woo! Not that they can they couldn't do that for shutting down child pornography, right? But memes on stuff like, eating blueberries increases your immune system. Can't say that. Largely unbeknownst to the American people, there is a war going on that has claimed victims in every family. This war is escalating and threatens every human life. It is a war being waged in the interest of a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry, which is not a health industry, but rather an investment business built on the continuation and expansion of global diseases, hence the World Health Organization. Boom. Your health and the health of every person in America are threatened in several ways. The business with disease as the basis of pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry is a multi-billion-dollar investment business that has orchestrated the largest fraud in human history. It promises health, but in fact thrives on the continuation of disease. This fraud scheme is easily unmasked. Gotta laugh at yourself. Most pharmaceutical drugs are designed to merely cover disease symptoms, but are not intended to cure or eradicate disease. As a direct result of this multi-billion-dollar fraud business, no cure has ever been found for cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, or any other chronic disease. On the contrary, these diseases continue in epic proportions, killing about 5,000 Americans every day. 5,000 Americans every day. These were numbers back in 2004. I'd love to see what it is now, right? It compares to the city of, it compares to the size of the city of San Francisco every year. So like a San Francisco amount of people are dying every year. Whoa. All right. The dangerous side effects caused by pharmaceutical drugs. Huge side effects. The dangerous side effects of, oh my gosh, he's actually talking about drugs in here. Oh, these are like the Vioxx, Celebrex, Lipitor, Prozac. Are not the exception, they are the rule. Due to their synthetic nature, most pharmaceutical drugs are toxic to our body, causing organ damage and other serious side effects. According to the American Medical Association, 1 million Americans suffered disabilities from taking pharmaceutical drugs, and more than 100,000 of them die as a result of this every single year. Numbers in 2004. Wow. Wow. Huge fail, medical industry. Huge fail. Your job should be, if you're going to call yourself healthcare, to keep people from getting sick. Right? They do that in Japan. They pay their doctors, and doctors that make the most money are the ones that don't have to see any of their patients because they keep them all well. That's healthcare. This is sick care. This is a business. They want your business, right? Legislation that protects the expansion of the deadly business with disease. So now we have this. When and on earth should, well, okay. Anyway, I guess our government's going to be involved in healthcare in some aspect, but to have it so in on the business side, this is where it's toxic, right? For decades, drug companies have used their giant profits to manipulate the public and influence legislation, including that from U.S. Congress and the White House. Now, the deadly consequences of the pharmaceutical fraud business have been unmasked. The survival of this industry depends on the protectionist laws. Protectionist laws, right? So in order to keep it going, they need to create laws to protect their shit. The current push. Oh, so this was back in the Bush administration. I don't need to do that. Blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm just going to read that part. Withholding life-saving information about health benefits of vitamins and natural therapies. A precaution for this business with disease based on patentable synthetic drugs is the suppression of effective and safe, but non-patentable, therefore less profitable natural remedies. For decades, pharmaceutical industries have strategically expanded its influence on medical education with devastating results. It had deliberately blocked any information about the essential role of vitamins and other micronutrients in maintaining health contained in every textbook of biology, biochemistry, and natural science from entering medical school teaching and medical practice. So these guys have actually gotten into universities and medical schools and have written the laws there. So a lot of doctors are blowing the whistle on that as well. All right, a lot of doctors are starting to see that and say stuff now. Through their strategic influence, the pharmaceutical industry has established a global monopoly on medicine. As a direct result, generations of medical doctors have not received adequate training in nutritional and other natural therapies. Doctors and patients alike have become victims of the pharmaceutical industry's effort to monopolize human health. As a result, tens of millions of Americans have died unnecessarily over the past decades because this life-saving health information has not been available to them. So suppressing effective natural therapies by law, effective, safe, and non-patentable natural therapies threaten the very basis of the pharmaceutical investment business. They target and correct underlying cellular deficiencies of today's most common diseases, therefore preventing and eradicating them. The elimination of any disease inevitably destroys the multi-billion-dollar drug market for pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so I'm not going to go on anymore in there. I think I want to tell you this. Okay, I didn't get a cold, flu, or infection for 10 years after I read this book. I think I was close to 10 years. I'm going to say I was probably more like, maybe it was like 8 or 9 years, and then I ended up getting like an ear infection or something. But I was under an incredible amount of stress, right? It was always the stress that would do that. As long as I was keeping myself in an alkaline state, I could not get sick. I could be in a whole room, everybody's sick, coughing on me, sneezing on me, and I would not get sick. All right. The closest I would come is maybe having to go home and sleep for 10 or 15 hours. Take some vitamin C and I'm fine. So there are only 2 reasons why a person becomes ill. Please take notes on this. If this is your takeaway today, this is going to be great. There are only 2 reasons a person gets ill. They catch something. This means your body picked up a germ, generally a virus or a bacteria. Or 2, you developed an illness or disease. This means that there is some imbalance in the body. Something is not working right, and an illness or disease develops. Common diseases in this category include heart disease, cancer, diabetes, acid reflux, arthritis, etc., etc., etc. The reasons you get sick are you catch something, your body can't fight it off, therefore you succumb to the germs, or your body develops something in the genetically weak areas. In both of the above cases, the causes are the same. A, your immune system is too weak. B, toxins are attacking the body. So if we keep asking the question, what caused that? We can then conclude that all illness comes from one or a combination of 4 things. Write this down. You have too many toxins in your body. You have nutritional deficiencies. You are exposed and negatively affected by electromagnetic chaos. I have stories around that if you don't think that's true. And 4, you have trapped mental and emotional stress. So at the time when I read this, maybe those last 2 didn't really resonate so much. And I was like, okay, I can understand nutritional deficiencies. I can understand toxins in the body. Now more than ever, trapped mental and emotional stress is what is keeping people in their illness after, if you've already gone through strengthening your immune system, changing your diet, and getting rid of the toxins in your body, and you're still experiencing disease. Those 2 things usually have, maybe you're electromagnetic sensitive and you don't know, but mostly, especially in America, especially in our culture, where we're just being dehumanized all the time and just away from our nature of how we really are, we have a lot of trapped mental and emotional stress. So I do like to talk about all that because it's good to get that out of your body. I think I've probably done more healing on myself when I did some conscious body work, right? I always talk about my Korean yoga, my Dawn yoga, brain and body centers, and how they have you really do conscious work with your body. It has been one of the most amazing things for me to experience. I always have been through so much. I feel like I have kind of like the cheats now, or the ways to get there quicker. So really, if you're on the side of medical right now, usually what I see is the people who are arguing for the side of medical are either like in it somehow, like they work in it, or they they're somehow connected to the cult, the club, right? And yeah, it's true, it's scientifically proven, and so they're just arguing that side of it without taking into consideration that there's millions and millions of people out there, including myself, who have cured themselves naturally without going through, without taking drugs, and actually cured myself more efficiently, because when I was going to doctors and doing drugs, that was exactly what was happening to me. I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. So I wanted to share what came out of the White House this week for some quick newsy news. And so Washington, the White House posts that there's not enough people to test, right? They made all these tests, like Trump just ordered so many tests. He's sending everybody tests. I have a friend on Facebook who posted the other day that he couldn't even get a test. He was sick, had all the symptoms of COVID. They told him to go home. They didn't test him. And if he wanted to get a test, it was going to be, I think it was between $300 and $600, which he couldn't afford. That was just for the test. And there was nothing that they offered him for treatment. Not enough people to test. Front page might confuse some readers. In today's Washington Post, as coronavirus testing expands, a new problem arises. Not enough people sick to test. That's odd. After months of claiming that America lagged, the world in testing capacity. After months of claiming that America lagged the world in testing capacity, the partisan media never corrected itself. It just changed the story and moved on. Here are the facts that the media left out. Under President Trump, the United States has built the strongest coronavirus testing systems in the world. In addition to performing more tests than any other country on Earth by far, America has now conducted twice as many tests per capita as South Korea, long considered a gold standard for testing. On every supply issue, from ventilators to testing the availability of food, President Trump has mobilized a massive response across government and private sector. As a result, many areas today see their testing capacity exceed demand. Exactly what happened with ventilators after President Trump drastically expanded production. So being overprepared is a good problem to have, and it didn't happen by accident, thanks to the hard work of President Trump and our public health experts and many sector leaders. America is more ready than ever. But hey, not enough people to test. Massive Trump coronavirus supply. What was the other one I wanted? Trump sends out a letter to the world. Here we go. Trump sends out a letter to the World Health Organization. I wanted to cover this one too, because it came in my email from the White House. I signed up for their email so I could just get I don't get it filtered through news. I haven't watched the news in years. I don't have TV. I don't have cable. And I can definitely, this has been ever since when news was on, it was always shootings. And I could just tell they were mostly false flag stuff and ways to keep people in fear. So we can talk about that another day. That's a different rabbit hole. So President Trump writes a letter to the World Health Organization. Response to coronavirus has been filled with one misstep and cover up after another. American taxpayers send over $400 million to the WHO each year, about 10 times what China gives, for the privilege of watching this UN agency parrot Chinese government claims and put political correctness over saving our lives. President Trump halted this funding last month until the WHO's mismanagement of the pandemic is investigated. In the meantime, the United States is redirecting global health aid to other groups directly engaged in the fight. This week, President Trump wrote to Dr. Tedros, Director General of the WHO, outlining 14 serious concerns raised by the Americans' review of the agency. And then it goes on, the World Health Organization has repeatedly made claims about coronavirus that were grossly inaccurate or misleading. You praise the Chinese government for its transparency with respect to the coronavirus, announcing that China has set a new standard for outbreak control and bought the world time. You did not mention that China had, by then, silenced or punished several doctors for speaking out about the virus and restricted Chinese institutions from publishing information about that. So he goes on about that. If you guys want more information, I can send it to you. Another reason, again, I'm not here to be like I'm on the right or I'm on the left, or this is about politics at all, right? What it is that there's things and stuff happening with this president. He's not political, or he's not a career politician, right? He came in, he's created his own businesses. He's made a name for himself. And sure, he came from money. He had money. And sure, he's, kind of comes across as a big egotistical dumbass. But the point is, right, all we've seen is one like administration peacefully give over to the new administration, except when it came to this one. From the very beginning of Trump, even running for office, the media has been against him. The celebrities have been against him. It's been a constant, we've been bombarded with hate speech on Trump, right? We've been programmed to hate this man. And it wasn't until this year that I moved away from that programming and just started to watch him and what he was doing. And the reason why it resonates so high with me, right, is because I come from a place where I healed myself with natural cures. I became aware of what was going on in a lot of these agencies a long time ago. It's not something that I could have talked about then. I tried to, and I was the crazy person, right? And maybe I still am. I don't care. This is a failure. Medical industry is a failure. It's not making people better. It's making people sicker. And now And now it's trying to move, it's separating people, right? I posted that other article about the team house cats and team human. I wish we had more time because I would read that. I'd read it, article, team cats and team humans. And so it's funny that I would post an article that is so about this. It's not really necessarily separation consciousness, but you have this divide between people, right? Of people who want to stay home and stay safe and people who just want to go back to work. Not necessarily, they're just not afraid to go out and maybe be exposed to a virus. Like, we're exposed to viruses and bacteria every day. I'm better off if you have COVID-19 that you just cough on me and I get it and my immune system becomes immune to it, because that's the way my immune system works. I think the rest of you who are human really do have the same ability. Maybe you have a compromised immune system and you need to work on that. But that's a better solution than injecting my body full of toxins that would compromise my immune system. So a couple other things before I wrap up. So, yeah, just in the past couple days, what's coming out of the White House too, right? And what Donald Trump's laying down. Not allowing vaccines to be mandatory, expelling WHO, World Health Organization, canceled the Democrats' HR 6666 bill, known for the COVID-19 Trace Act, that was the basis for Bill Gates' Diagnose and Tracing Project, which was also canceled. Canceled Bill Gates' projects known as ID 2020, open a platform to report censorship on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Yes, right? And he gave the final hit to China 5G, therefore, for the Chinese government. I haven't even talked about Obamagate. I don't think you guys are seeing that in the news. That's huge. Okay. I think that was it that I wanted to cover today on that. So none of this stuff, I'm not putting it out there to scare anybody. I'm shining a big light on a business that is taking human health into their own hands and defiling it, fucking with it, hurting it, and proud and deeply involved in government, deeply involved in getting others involved, right? So that they can just continue to be these fat cats with power and prestige. And what's happening right now with the amount of censorship, it's all targeted towards the natural stuff, right? Even the inexpensive drugs that are working for COVID, right, that work, that's being censored as well. So what I just want you to see is that there is an agenda out there, and you don't need to play that game. You really don't. And why would you want to, right? I mean, if drugs and surgery is working for you and making you healthier, then where you're at right now, you wake up every day feeling healthy, right? You can digest your food just fine. You don't have flagellants or irritable gut syndrome or whatever that's called. You know, you're not constipated. You have good sexual health. You have good energy. You have good focus, right? You feel alive. You are connected with yourself. You love yourself. You love your body. You love, like, is that you? You're taking drugs and medication right now and feeling really good? Are things resolving, right? Are you healthy, or are you constantly going to the doctor because you're sick with new infections, right? And that's what you need to ask yourself. And that can be really triggering when you start to see the cracks in the mirror. And you're loved. You're always loved. You're not judged by any of those decisions that you make. My cry to you is that you have millions of other brothers and sisters, including myself, who are coming on here. I'm coming on here and broadcasting this stuff because it's getting censored. And this is not me. I wasn't, I don't have an education in broadcasting. I don't know. I know how to take great photos, and there's a lot of things I can do, but this is because me and millions of others just really want to reach out to you and let you know that you don't have to live like that anymore. And that it's been pushed on you, and that it's been like most people that are in that system are just being farmed, right? And it's not saying that there aren't life-sustaining drugs out there and there aren't miracles that come out of the medical industry, right? But this is in 2004 they keep a lot of that stuff in the dark. But in 2020, that's really hard. They've literally had to hire, Facebook has 3 independent fact checker companies that are sponsored by Bill Gates to go out and censor people. Like it's hardcore on with them right now, trying to shut down millions of people that are telling you this stuff. So it's not just me. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out for the show. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to close with a little prayer for everybody, just right where you're at right now. Just drop in, take some deep breaths, clear your energy field. Today, I think I'm going to just stay offline, stay off the computer, stay off my TV, turn it off, go have connection with peace, connection with your soul, connection with find a quiet space. If you can find a quiet space to just connect in that moment. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel just the breath in your body. Be still enough just to hear your heartbeat. Just feel the life force that flows through you. And just know you are so dearly loved. You have free will. There is never a judgment. We are all in this together. We all have different experiences. We're all different. But where we go one, we go all. I love you all. I hope you have a great day. I will see you guys back here on Friday. I'm going to bring on Emma Schuchek. You guys check her out. She is such a goddess. I can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day. No masque. My immune system honors your immune system.